What's going on, y'all? Shout out to the LDPC. It's your boy Fight Critic here to give you guys another video. And the man, the myth, the face of boxing himself, Canelo Alvarez, has officially signed a 2-fight deal with Matchroom to get his 2 sparring sessions out of the way and collect millions of dollars. Canelo Alvarez, you could tell at this point he's feeling himself a little bit. I can feel it. He announced that he will be fighting Anvil Yildirim, I believe, at some point in February. And he's scheduled to fight him at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, which is where the Miami Dolphins play. It's a big enough venue to where you can put a max capacity of about 14,000 people. And he wanted to do it in that specific location, just given that, February, it's a really cold month, but down in, the South, it's a pretty warm area, especially to be in a stadium. So for Canelo Alvarez, he basically just targeted it. It's also a reason for him to stay active and kind of do these little sparring sessions that he's been doing until he finds a name big enough for him to take a huge fight. And that's just something that he's just doing as a free agent. But the 2-fight deal with Matchroom is really important because it means that at least for the next year, Canelo will be exclusive to DAZN, which is important for them. I don't know what the figures are for, the money behind it. I don't know what's going to be the situation in terms of what Canelo will be making per fight, or if he's just going to see where he can make money. But we do know for sure that DAZN had to dip into a pay-per-view style model in order to afford Canelo to take the initial fight that he fought as a free agent versus Callum Smith. So now you see Canelo re-up 2 more fights and is looking for, just another way for him to stay active and make a nice little piece of change. And it comes in the form of an Anvil Yildirim, which will be essentially a punching bag for maybe 4 rounds. I don't find this fight to be competitive in any way, shape, or form. It's just Canelo fulfilling his duties and fighting at the 168-pound weight class. He's proven to be the best guy, at least in 2 divisions, and I don't see him moving back up to light heavyweight unless he is to fight another opponent that is kind of over the hill a little bit. But when you look at 160 and 168, there are tons of options for Canelo. I don't think he wanted to have himself tied down to a multiple-year deal or multiple-fight deal that exceeds a year. So him getting these 2 fights means that he can fight a quick fight coming up and then take another fight for Cinco de Mayo, which I think he will be targeting Billy Joe Saunders, given that that's probably the last marquee name that Eddie Hearn has across these 2 divisions. And we already know that Canelo has no interest in fighting Gennady Golovkin for a 3rd time. So after Cinco de Mayo, there's going to be the same amount of pressure on Canelo if he's going to take another couple fight deal with Matchroom. Is he going to flirt with the idea of fighting under PBC? It remains to be seen. But at least we know his next sparring session, because that's essentially what this fight is. It's a sparring session. It's kind of funny because at first I was thinking if Anvil Yildirim was British, but he's not. He's Turkish, because Canelo Alvarez tends to make a lot of his sparring sessions to be British fighters, if you've noticed the trend. But no, Yildirim, I believe he's mostly well known for getting knocked out by Chris Eubanks. And for Canelo, Chris Eubank would probably be a good fight for him to take, especially at 168, given both guys are there, but I don't know if we'll ever get it. But we do know that Billy Joe Saunders is probably going to be the likely target. I don't see Demetrius Andrade filling that void for Canelo, because if he wanted to fill in the void, he probably would have taken him in this fight as opposed to the Cinco de Mayo fight. But if I'm Billy Joe Saunders, I just keep myself in the gym, even though that looks like it's kind of hard to do. Try not to get caught with PEDs again. And I would just look at the opportunity of fighting the biggest fighter in the sport currently on one of the biggest holidays in the sport for May, and not try to fuck it up and not try to demand too much. It looks like this fight is pretty much primed for you to get. So once Canelo moves past Yildirim, Billy Joe Saunders will probably be the likely target for him for Cinco de Mayo. And for Eddie Hearn, it just means that he gets to keep himself collecting money. Good shit.